The Arab League says compromise is the only way forward to end Israel's onslaught on Gaza. Here on the sidelines of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, I sat down with the League's Deputy Secretary General to discuss what that looks like for the member states and asked him if the war in Gaza has challenged the rules-based international world order. I'm Kübra Akkoç and this is One on One. Mr. Hossam Zaki, thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World.
Thank you for having me.
In mid-February, Arab League Secretary General said compromise is the only way forward towards ending the war in Gaza. And right now it looks like it's a zero-sum game on both sides. What does compromise look like for Arab League at the moment?
Well, from our point of view, when we talk about compromise, we mean that the war has to stop, the hostilities have to stop, the humanitarian aid has to get in, the Palestinians should remain in their territory and not be forcibly displaced, and that we need to find a way to implement the two-state solution. Evidently, in order to stop the war also, there will have to be a prisoner detainee swap between the Palestinian side and the Israeli side, through which there will be an end to the issue of the hostage situation in Gaza, and also the freeing up of a number of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. If we are able to reach that, I think that would be a good compromise. But of course, what we understand by compromise is different from what the other side in Israel understand by it.
And not all Arab League member states are equally impacted by the tensions in the region. To what extent do you think do all members of the Arab League see eye to eye on how this conflict should end?
Listen, we have 22 member states that cover a huge area from the Atlantic Ocean shores to the Indian Ocean shores. They have different interests, and indeed they see sometimes things in a different way. But they all have the question of Palestine in their hearts, and they all have, politically speaking, I think it is very obvious that when they reach a decision, this is the common denominator between them. So we shouldn't really seek differences when there are no differences. It is true that some countries have different visions of how to reach the right end to the plight of the Palestinians and how to retrieve their rights. But we have to recognize that when the Arab League issues a resolution, it is a resolution that is binding for all.
And a few months ago, in late October, Russia offered to collaborate with the Arab League to put an end to the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And at the same time, the Arab League has also offered to mediate in Russia's war in Ukraine. What has come of these offers, actually?
The offer to mediate with the Russian-Ukraine situation in order to stop the war was very, very early in the war. It was in April 22, actually. And it was 1 month almost after the war has erupted. And we still think that, that we are well placed. But again, many players around the world have tried to help in ending this conflict of the Russian-Ukraine conflict, I mean. And it was not possible, unfortunately. We are no different. I'm not sure whether Russia offered to work with us on the issue of ending the Gaza situation, because we all know to deliver the Israeli acceptance of ending the war, you need the United States, and that is difficult with the participation of Russia at the moment. We are trying with the United States as much as other Arab countries are trying, and also Islamic countries, Turkey, we have Indonesia, we have other countries trying with the United States. But unfortunately, there are limits to how we can affect the American decision making, and limits to, it seems, to what the American decision making can achieve when it comes to Israel. Apparently not a lot, and apparently they have a much weaker influence than we have expected.
You said you're trying with the United States, but do you believe Russia can still play the role of an honest broker in this conflict? Or, for example, United States is better suited for this role, or as you said, Turkey also has put itself forward saying Turkey can be the guarantor country in the region.
Well, listen, I think it was obvious from what happened that it is difficult to see the United States as an honest broker in this conflict. After all what has happened, and how they were not able to, and still not able to call for a ceasefire, I think it is obvious that they are not capable of playing this role in an honest way. Russia, on the other hand, has issues related to its own neighborhood, and the war with Ukraine is obviously taking tremendous part of their attention and effort and resources. I do not think that they are willing to play such a role, even if at a certain point in time they used to keep balanced relations between Israel on one side and Palestine and the other Arab countries on the other side.
You are here at the Antalya Diplomacy Forum and hosted by Turkey. It's an annual diplomacy event hosted by Turkey. And there's been an increased dialogue between Turkey and the Arab League as well. Where are we at this point with regards to cooperation on Gaza and maybe other related issues, cooperation between Turkey and the Arab League?
Listen, I am glad to be in Turkey, first of all. It's been a long time since I last came to Turkey. It was, I think, maybe 14 years ago. I had the privilege also of having talks with the foreign ministry. I was received by His Excellency, the Foreign Minister, 2 days ago in Ankara. I am happy to be here in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum representing the Arab League. We have had difficulties for a number of years related to the situation in our region and how Turkey was conducting its own policy then. But now this is a page that we have turned, both of us, and I think from this moment on it can only go positively, and I think it will be a good thing for us if Turkey and the Arab countries come together in order to resolve the problems of the region. You speak about Gaza, and Gaza, we have been doing this for the past 4 months, putting hands together, Turkey and Arab countries, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. All those countries are working actively in order to try to end this conflict and this war, this unjust and criminal war that Israel is waging against our brothers and sisters in Gaza. But it is difficult, as I explained in my previous answers. It has to do with the United States also, and this has proven to be very difficult. But we will not stop. We will continue to work together, and we believe our impact together is going to be a much bigger impact, and we will eventually reach the goal that we want to reach.
Reaction to the ICJ's verdict on Israel's onslaught on Gaza, actually the genocide charge led by South Africa, was divided. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was not divided for us. I think it was very clear on our side that what was issued by the court was good in the sense that it was legal. This is a legal case, and they responded to it legally. They didn't get into the politics of terms like ceasefire, but they have legally called on the Israelis to cease all activities that would harm Palestinians, to try to open the ways, the doors for humanitarian aid and so on. So for all the orders that the court have issued, I think we should consider that as positive. And we looked at it as a positive step, and legally it is actually a very good step for our Palestinian brothers. We hope that it will have the right effect, and when the time comes, there is another verdict also by the ICJ that is even more important because it was referred to it from the United Nations.
Before we go, sir, I'd like to broaden out the discussion a little bit and discuss with you the international world order. Actually, whose order, whose rules? These kind of concepts have been discussed largely by many other countries. Do you think, or maybe to what extent, have these concepts challenged by what's going on in Gaza?
I think, thank you for the question. It's a very interesting and important question, I think. It is very, very difficult to look at the international order after Gaza or post-Gaza the way we have been looking at it pre-Gaza. We were under no illusion that this order was an order for justice and protection of human rights of citizens in the times of war, the implementation of international law, the rightful place of international organizations, Security Council role, etc. I think it was very clear during the Gaza war that the double standards that were showed and implemented by the West, I think has led the West to a kind of a moral dilemma because it kept protecting or declaring its positions on those issues in support of them, and then suddenly when it had to do with Gaza and the Palestinians, there was nothing.
Mr. Hossam Zaki, thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.